episode 3 of the Widdly Diddly Way. Please like and subscribe this channel if you're enjoying these lessons. It really helps me to get the numbers up. In this episode, I'm going to have a look at a lick that I posted on Instagram on April 26. This one involves a whole mess of hybrid picking. Here's the lick played for you now. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty intense. There's a bit in it. We're going to break it down into basically two separate sections. The first section has got two distinct picking patterns. The first picking pattern is this. And the second picking pattern is this. So there's two different patterns there. So the first one, hybrid picking, once again, and we're doing this pattern. So when I'm using my middle finger as the picking finger, as the plucking finger I should say, I'm going to say it's plucked. So that's the hybrid plucking. And then when I'm using my pick, I'm going to say picked, because that's when I'm using my actual plectrum. So we do pluck, pull off, pick, hammer on, pluck, pick, pull off, pull off. That's our first pattern. Now we repeat that down the neck in two separate positions. So that's our first picking pattern. Our second picking pattern is this one. So in this one we're plucking, doing two pull-offs, picking the string below, and then plucking again, then picking again, and two pull-offs. So it's pluck, pull off, pick, pluck, pick, pull off. Okay, so that's our second pattern. Right, first pattern, second pattern. So on this one, we're going to use kind of a mash-up scale. It's basically E minor pentatonic, but we're using a whole bunch of chromatics. So here's our scale from the top. So let's have a look at the first section. First section. Pinky, 17th fret, pluck, pull off to the 12th. Right. So we're picking on the 15th of the second string, hammering up to the 16th, then plucking again, 12th fret of the top of the first string, and then picking and pulling off 16, 15, 12 on the second string. Next bit, plucking on the 16th fret on the second string, and then pulling off to 15 and then 12. Then we're picking on the 15th fret of the third string, and then plucking on the 12th fret of the second string, then picking, and then pulling off 15 to 14, 14 to 12. So it's so that gives us now kind of a hybrid minor blues pattern. In E. Now we're moving to the second octave and we're repeating the cycle that we're using our picking pattern in. So pattern 1 first, pattern 2 second, obviously. But we're just shifting down into this second half of the scale. So it's flat 5, perfect 4th, flat 3rd, 1st, 7th, flat 7, 5, flat 5, perfect 4th. And it's the same pattern. So we're doing 15th fret, 3rd string, plucking, pulling off to the 12th. Now we're going to pick on the 13th and hammer onto the 14th. Then we're plucking on the 12th fret of the 3rd string again. And then we're picking and pulling off 14 to 13 to 12. And then we move into the second pattern again, starting on the 4th string, plucking and doing 2 pull-offs, 14, 13, 13, 12 on the 4th string. Then we're plucking on the 14th fret of the 5th string, and then plucking on the 12th fret of the 4th string, then picking and then doing 2 pull-offs, 14 to 13 to 12. So slowly the second half is. Altogether so far we have. So we've just moved down that hybrid scale in the same pattern. Now what we're going to do to finish off this particular half of the lick is we're going to repeat that same second picking pattern. We're just going to move it down to the bottom 2 strings to finish off, which finishes off on our root note. So the very last move is this one, which is. So we're plucking on the 12th fret of the 5th string, pull off to 11, pull off to 10. Then we're picking 12th fret, 6th string, plucking 10th fret of the 5th string, then picking and doing pull-offs on the bottom string, 12 to 11 to 10, and then we're hammering back on, or you can pick it, whatever, 12th fret of the 6th string to finish off. So the final lick is, we're mainly using 2 pentatonic boxes. We're mainly using box 1 of the minor pentatonic, and then we're using just the tiniest little bit of box 5 of the minor pentatonic. But it's pretty much all, aside from, I guess you could say the first section is up in the second box, but we're just grabbing a couple of notes. So all together slowly. This next one we're moving through a bunch of different shapes of the E minor. So slowly, we're starting on the F sharp, which is the 14th fret of the 6th string, and we've got this progression. I'm using a ascending hybrid picking pattern with a couple of variations through the E minor scale. So we start on the 14th fret of the 6th string, which is our F sharp, and we play this pattern. Notice that as I'm playing the pattern, I'm lifting my finger as the last note rings out. Otherwise you get this sort of sound. So we're looking for more of a staccato sound in the note, because otherwise it gets really messy. There's a lot of overlap in the notes, so we're fretting the note, and as we pluck the next note, we're releasing the tension on the string, which makes it a bit cleaner. Pick, pluck, pick, pluck. Bit of a simpler pattern. So we're using pick on the 14, pluck on the 15 on the 5th string, pick on the 14th of the 6th string, and then pluck on the 12th fret. Now what I'm doing is I'm relocating my first finger up to where my third finger was in the commencement. So I'm basically moving laterally, which kind of gives us a diminished sound within the minor. It's not a diminished lick, but it kind of sounds diminished because we're moving in a diminished shape across the scale, but we're only using notes within the E minor scale. I think that's pretty cool when you're doing that it gives you kind of a diminished sound, kind of an edgy sound, but you're staying completely diatonic, which kind of bends the ear, but it's also kind of friendly. So what we're doing is every time we're moving our second finger up like this. So we're kind of doing a finger replacement lick. You kind of see me doing a lot of these sort of things because I kind of like the way they sound. Purely like the way they sound. So it's 14, 15, 14, 12. Now we're moving up to where we're using our third finger, and now we're doing essentially the same thing, same picking pattern. 15 on the fifth string, 16 on the fourth string, 15 on the fifth string, and then 14 on the fourth string. Once again, pick, pluck, pick, pluck. And all I'm doing is I'm releasing the tension every time to make it sound cleaner, otherwise you get this. Which sounds messy, which is cool, but it just sounds messy. Then the next shape, we're doing exactly the same thing again. Now we're moving up to our 16th fret, starting on the fourth string. And in actual fact, what we're doing is we're playing the octave of the shape below. So now we've moved up in that classic octave shape. We're starting here, second finger, 16th fret, fourth string, pick, pluck up to the 17th fret, third string. And then back down to our 14th fret on the third string. 16, 17, 16, 14. Now we do the same movement. Now we're up here on the 17th fret of the third string. We've changed the lick a little bit. Now this is simply to do with the practicalities of saying within the diatonics. Okay, because what we're doing is always we have to negotiate the change from the G to the B string tuning. If we were like Tom Quayle or someone like that who had tuned perfect fourth all the way across, we wouldn't have that, but we don't because we're using conventional tuning. So what I'm doing is I'm starting on the 17th, third string, pick up to the 19th, second string, and then I'm going down to the 15th fret of the second string. If you wanted to keep it exactly the same, you could do that lick and have it come across, but I find it easier. Once again, to get that cleanness of the note, because it's very hard to get that clean if you're doing this type of pattern across two strings which are on the same fret. So that just gives us a clean sound. 17, 19, 17, 15. All the dots. And as we come to the last bit of our sequence, we're now moving up to the 19th fret, second string, and we're basically repeating that pattern again that we started down here. We're up here on the F sharp again, 19, 20, 19, 17. So 19th second string, 20 top string, 19th second string, 17th top string, first string. Once again, pick, pluck, pick, pluck, pick, pluck, pick, pluck. And then we're just doing a slide to finish on the root note, up on the 24th. 22nd, 19, 22nd, all the way up to 24th. Okay, so all together slowly it is. So there you have it. That's the entire lick. As I said, this one was posted up on April 26. It's pretty intense. There's a lot of hybrid picking in it, but once you get the patterns, it's pretty repetitive. And as in with most of these licks I post, it's moving through repetitious phrases inside of a key center, just using different techniques. So the first one is alternating between two different picking patterns inside sort of 2.5 boxes of the E minor pentatonic, and then we're repeating the same picking pattern, ascending diatonically through an E minor, starting from F sharp. So that's the whole thing. If you like what you see, please go to my Instagram, Ben Eaton Music, where you can check this lick out. You've also got my Facebook page, Music, Ben Eaton Music, and my YouTube channel, Ben Eaton Music. I've also got a podcast which I do weekly, the Performing Musicians Podcast, which talks to working musicians about how the coronavirus has affected them. So please come and check it out, tell your friends, spread the word, it's really helpful, and I'll see you next week.